Hey guys, Josh at Bane Tech, and this is my Galaxy S6 review. I've had this phone ever since it was launched, and it's been almost 3 months now, and it's been my personal daily driver for the majority of the time. I had 1 week where I used the Nexus 6, and I quickly went back to this phone. If you want to hear about my Nexus 6 review, I'll leave a link down below in the description. For this review, I'm going to go over how I use the device and what my experience has been like. To start off with, let's talk about the build quality. The build quality is actually what us Android Samsung users have been screaming for such a long time. No longer we have any of that plastic crap. We have some premium materials this time, which includes a glass back and metal framing. Now, while the glass back actually kind of makes me nervous, I'm glad it's there. It's so much better than that plastic back. It really feels like a premium device at this point. Although I like the glass back, it does leave me kind of concerned about scratching it or even breaking it, so I always use a case, and I definitely recommend using a case for those reasons, but also it actually kind of makes it slipperier, so it adds to that concern of dropping it. As I mentioned, you have a frame that's made of metal and it feels really nice. And the other thing I like about this metal frame is that it's not going to rub off like what you saw like with the Note 3. One of my biggest complaints about the Note 3 is that the paint would just rub off, and it just really made me feel like I had a crappy, cheap device. And you're not going to get that experience with the Galaxy S6. This is probably one of the thinnest phones I've ever used next to an iPhone. And speaking of an iPhone, although I'm not complaining about it, it actually kind of does look like an iPhone. If you look at the bottom, the speaker grill is just a little bit different than the iPhone. Of course, you get the USB connection that's different, but other than that, it actually looks a lot similar to an iPhone 6. But again, like, I'm not complaining about that. This is a build quality that I actually like. You know, some people complain about copying or anything like that. I'm just like, whatever, this is awesome. I want this kind of build quality anyways. This is definitely made to be a one-handed device, which is really good for a lot of people. With my big hands, I can definitely navigate the buttons just fine. The power button's in a natural position when you're holding it like this. The volume rocker is very accessible as well, and the buttons feel good. They have a nice tactile feel to them, and I really like that. And in case you're wondering, you got the SIM card right next to the power button. You got your IR blaster at the top with some microphones, and at the bottom you got your headphone jack, USB port, and also your speakers, along with a microphone at the bottom as well. On the backhand side, you got your camera, which actually protrudes a lot more than what we're used to, but it really doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't offend me whatsoever. Next to the camera, you got your LED light combined with your heart rate sensor. On the front, you got your camera, and then also some other sensors, speaker grill, all that kind of good stuff, and of course our home button. Now, I'm actually a fan of the home buttons and physical buttons. I just like that over on-screen buttons. That's just my preference. But one of the nice things about the home button this time around is that you don't have the awkward swipe for the fingerprint sensor like what we saw on the Note 4, but it's actually very accurate. Watch how quickly this works. There, that's it. All you have to do is press the button. You don't have to swipe or anything like that, so I really like that. I never thought I'd actually use the fingerprint scanner as much as I do, but I use it for my lock screen all the time now, and it feels really nice that it's secure. Nobody can really just hack into my phone by just picking it up. And it actually makes it just a lot easier just to access the phone. All you have to do is press one button and you're done. You don't have to press a button, then swipe a screen, do a pattern, put in a password or anything like that. You just simply press the button and it reads your fingerprint. Really easy. I think we've covered the basics, or the majority of what I want to talk about as far as the build quality and the physical aspects of the phone. Let's go ahead and get into the performance and some of the software stuff that I like about this phone and what makes it stand out from the rest, in my opinion. First of all, I'm just going to let you know I'm using Nova Launcher. I have Moonshine icon pack on there, so it's going to look a little different than what you're used to. But on top of that, recently Samer Zaire was able to push a sweet new theme to the theme store, and it's a material design, so it's really cool. I'll leave a link down below if you want to access that for yourself. It's really awesome to me. I'm actually really excited about this theme because now I feel like I have a non-TouchWiz Samsung phone without having to be rooted, although I'm rooted. You don't have to be rooted to actually use this theme. All you got to do is go to your settings, and you can see here this looks like stock Android right here. It looks like material stock Android. It's really cool. All you have to do is go to your themes. You can go to the store, pick whatever you want, and then select it, activate it, and you're good to go. So basically now I have a TouchWiz-less phone on a Samsung device, which is really cool to me. Again, I'm using Nova Launcher, so this is how I have mine set up. It's going to look a little different if you're just using the normal Samsung stuff. I just really like Nova Launcher. I've used it for years now. I've tried to use other launchers. I just can't get used to the other ones. This one's very customizable. You can put a lot of different icon packs on it. Totally changed the look of the device, which is one of the awesome things about Android, right? I kind of want to get into the performance side of it before I get into some other aspects of the phone. Performance-wise, it actually lags out quite a bit at some point each day, and that kind of gets annoying. So what I'll end up doing, I'll just close out all the stuff here if I have any apps running. I also use the Clean Master app, and that kind of helps speed things up if I need to, or I can just do an old-fashioned reboot. And once that happens, usually the phone gets back to snappy and all that kind of stuff. So that is kind of a grievance that I have, because there's times where I'm just trying to use my phone, look up stuff, and it's just lagging out, and it gets really annoying, so I have to go through the steps to get rid of the lag. The other issue that I've had is actually phone calls. For a long time, I would say that Samsung has had the best earpieces for volume for hearing the caller. It seems like they kind of toned down on the volume on the Galaxy S6, and I know that you can boost the volume while you're in the phone call, but it doesn't seem like it boosts it quite as like what it used to be before. So might as well get this one out of the way. Battery life just straight out sucks. It's not good at all. It's probably one of the worst battery life phones that I've had in a long time. I'd say the second to worst that I've had. This thing just doesn't last all day for me at all. Back when I was working lawn care landscaping, I would have the phone unplugged around 5:30 in the morning, and I would definitely have to plug it up by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that was just really annoying to have to actually do that. Now that I'm in an office job, I'm not using the phone as much because I don't have to use my phone for work as much. I can make it last all day. But by the time I get home, it's probably 15 to 20% battery life. Fortunately, the remedy for that is that it's got quick charging, and quick charging works really good to me. If it didn't have quick charging, I probably wouldn't have lasted this long with this phone. I've got a couple quick chargers for the wall and also the car, so I always have some kind of quick charging around me, actually along with some portable batteries as well, so that definitely helps out a lot. I would definitely recommend getting a few quick charging sources because you're going to need them. Apart from those performance issues there, it's actually been really good. It's for the most part pretty snappy. It looks good. The screen is awesome to me. It's one of the best looking screens I've used on a phone, and it just works really well. One of the things that I like about the screen the most is when you're in the daytime, you get this really nice boost of brightness, and you can see the phone clear as day outside. One of the things I couldn't stand about the Nexus 6, the second time I tried it, was like it was really hard to see outside. So you get a really nice boost of brightness when you're using this phone outside, and that's just great if you have to use this outdoors a lot. Let's go ahead and get into the camera, because it's actually one of my favorite features about this phone. It really has an awesome camera. It's actually pretty snappy. It takes pictures pretty quick, and the previews are really nice to get to and access. One of the awesome things about the camera now is that you don't have as many options as what you had on it pre-installed. So you can go into the mode, scroll on down, hit download, and then you can add those options like what you're used to from previous Samsung devices. So you don't actually have to have those on there if you don't want to. But the settings is pretty simple to understand, really easy to understand. You can just really get into the camera settings, get there, and just be done. You don't have to tweak a lot of stuff. And even just the audio setting is just really good to me. It takes phenomenal pictures. If you follow my Instagram or any of my social networks, you see me posting pictures quite often, and they turn out really nice. Using the camera, as I said, is just really easy. Tap to focus, snap the picture, and it's ready to go. It's got some really cool features. I mean, just selective focus, slow motion, virtual shot, animated GF, sports, food. You know, some of those ones I already downloaded. It's got this pro setting to where you can adjust a lot of the different settings that you would see like on a DSLR camera. But most of the time I use the auto, and the auto does really phenomenal job, so there's not really much of a reason unless you just want to tweak a lot of the settings. The slow motion app is just really awesome, so let's go ahead and do that example really quick. And I know this is vertical video syndrome, but it's just easier to use right now, so let's just record it for a second, kind of go over here, do some neat little panning work, some professional stuff right there, stop it, and then you just go back to the gallery, and you can tweak it. You can kind of choose when the slow motion happens. It's just really cool stuff. Slow motion works really awesome with this. It's a fun aspect of this camera. So other cool little facts about this, and I'll leave like links down below with all the facts and specs of this phone. I just kind of want to talk about the experience. Now this can get up to 4K recording. It looks really nice and sharp. It's very nice quality. But I actually end up just using 1080p most of the time just because of file sizes and whatnot. It's just really awesome to have such an awesome camera on this. It's really that great. It's by far the best smartphone camera out on the market right now. Another thing I want to talk about is actually the S Health. It's not something that I was really interested before because I don't think the technology was really there. It was really premature in my opinion, but I think they fine-tuned this app a lot. The heart rate sensor is really accurate and pretty fast these days, so it's really cool to see that. We'll do a little example here in just a second. There's actually quite a bit of options that you can add to this. You can add your steps, walking, running, cycling, hiking, sports, food, water, caffeine, weight, sleep, and you can read the rest, but the stuff that I like to turn on is the heart rate, the stress, and things like that. Blood pressure is a good one to put on there. I'll have it linked up with Nike Plus. That's the running app that I like to use. You can add goals and also programs. If you're into the health stuff, the S Health is actually really nice now. So let's go ahead and just do a little sample of the heart rate sensor. It works really good. So it gives you really step-by-step tutorials of how to get it going. Really easy to use. So let's go ahead and put this on. And you can see there that it works relatively quick and you can get your readings at a nice snappy rate. You don't really have to wait around for it. And it's really easy to use. Like I'm going to emphasize that again. It's just really easy to use. So that's pretty much going to wrap up my review and sharing my experience with the Galaxy S6. In short, I would recommend this phone to pretty much anybody. At this point, you can't really complain about TouchWiz because you can change it now with the themes. You can get rid of TouchWiz. So your TouchWiz haters, you can get rid of TouchWiz. And now you have a phenomenal beast of a phone that looks and acts like stock Android. It really doesn't get much better than that. You get all the great features that Samsung puts into the phone with a stock Android look now. I'm just really excited about that. I would say that this would be a perfect phone if they could fix the battery life. It's got wireless charging, that's all nice. You know, that's a cool little thing to have. It's not something that I really particularly care about. The quick charging helps forgive the bad battery life, but it still needs better battery life. Now some of the glitchiness I would say could be fixed in a software update. It might have been fixed in the latest one. It's just that I'm rooted right now, so I'm not going to accept the OTA. And that's another thing that wasn't really expected either, was that it has root now, and that's just awesome to me. If you need to know how to root your phone, I'll leave a link down below in the description. So overall, again, I would recommend this phone for anybody. Now I got the regular one versus the Edge because, I don't know, like it seemed like they didn't carry over a lot of the Edge features from the Note over to the Galaxy 6 Edge. It looks cool, but I couldn't really justify spending the extra $100 on it. If I was going to spend another $100 on this phone, it would be for extra storage, not for this Edge features. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it informational and helpful. I wanted to share with you what my experience was like with the Galaxy S6, not necessarily a breakdown of all the specs. If you found this video helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family. This could be something that they could find very helpful to them if they're trying to decide whether to get this device or not. Thanks again for watching, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this.